Hello, I want to welcome each and every of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important. Hello. I want to welcome each and every one of you to Teens Reality on Life Changers TV YouTube channel. My name is Pastor Udo. I'm your lovely host, and I want to thank every one of you who is tuning in today to listen to our ongoing discussion. Remember, we're still talking about the current realities that teens facing today that need to be addressed. A lot of things that they are going through, a lot of pressures, a lot of things that they are being exposed to that are determining the kind of decisions and the actions that many of our teenagers are taking. We can no longer afford to be blind or silent about them. We must indeed speak up. And in our last episode, we took our time to introduce this powerful new acronym for the year called THOUGHTS. We said thought now is what? Taking hold of your God's hands tightly. We made mention of the fact that yes, God is a vital element for every parent and every teenager out there. He is someone that you cannot afford to play with in this year. So you have to take hold of his hands tightly and not let go for any reason at all. You want to be sure that your teenagers are going to be morally corrupted or influenced to go in the wrong direction. You will do so by putting in place a measure of uprightness. And the only person that can keep them in the good standing is an introduction of the person Jesus into their life. When the Holy Spirit also now comes to dwell in them fully, change begins to take place, where they begin to hear His voice and fellowship deeply with His Spirit. Alright, today I want to be looking at something else that has been prevalent in our generation. I came across a particular page on Instagram called Parents Cup, and they were talking about what has been happening recently with many of our children and teenagers and the kind of researches that have been taking place by both psychologists and psychiatrists. A lot of people in science fields are studying trends, they are studying behavioral patterns, and they're trying to understand why people do what they do when they do it. That's always what psychologists try to understand the human behavior and stuff like that. So now, based on the research that has been conducted, some of the findings were revealed, and this particular group, or should I say page on Instagram, made mention of it. So I'd like us to look at it today, still in line with what we are doing. Now it says there's a new trend quietly holding this generation back, turning every parenting mistake into a permanent scar. Over 60% of young adults now label everyday missteps as trauma, using language once reserved for real harm. But when we lump all imperfections into the trauma basket, we freeze our own growth and stop moving forward. It's true that some childhood experiences are truly damaging and deserve distance, but most parents were never given manuals or therapy language. They loved us while carrying their own burdens, learning as they went. The truth is, most pain comes from imperfection, not intention. Psychologists call this habit over-pathologizing. By branding every argument, rule, or awkward moment as toxic, we end up stuck in the past. Blame is seductive. It gives us someone to point to, but it quietly robs us of agency, keeping us focused on old wounds instead of what we can build now. Research shows that chronic blame is linked to lower resilience and weaker relationships. If we wait for parents to fix the past before we heal, we risk staying emotionally frozen, never learning to rewrite our story. Alright, let's stop here first of all. So, we see what is being revealed to us today. This generation nowadays. There was a time that before you heard the word trauma used in a sentence or in a public space, something severe or serious had to have taken place. Either someone was involved like in a ghastly motor accident or and sustained maybe like head injuries or some kind of serious body injuries, or you see someone was maybe brutally attacked and assaulted. You understand? Maybe someone was walking home and was jumped by a thief, someone trying to like pickpocket or something like that, or you see someone that was maybe sexually molested or assaulted, maybe as a teenager or as a young child, you understand, or maybe even emotional torture, severe ones, or perhaps someone who was physically maltreated, who was beaten, spanked. You have those who maybe were locked up for days on end, maybe they were starved, they went without food, like severe things. But nowadays, in this generation, the slightest things that parents do to kids to just like correct them or put them on track is labeled trauma. Clean your room, I'm being traumatized. Set the table for dinner, I'm being traumatized. Do the laundry, I'm being traumatized. Do these like simple chores, simple activities, simple, okay, no, your curfew is by this particular time, you must be home by this time, I'm being traumatized, I'm not being heard, I'm not being listened to. That is what we are seeing take place in the lives of many kids and teenagers today. And the alarming thing is that it has now even become accepted. Some parents have not even gotten on board with this labeling of every single thing that happens to the kids as trauma, and they are now like taking that pressure upon themselves to feel like, okay, perhaps I'm being too harsh with my kid. You are not harsh when you tell your kid to do their homework. You are not harsh when you tell them to go to their room, clean it up, or clean the house, or do things like that. No, you are not harsh. You are not traumatizing them by teaching them to be responsible for themselves or responsible to the environment or the home they are living in. For crying out loud, you are not raising pigs. So a kid who cannot clean up after himself, he's no longer a toddler. He doesn't need to be spoon-fed. So he should be able to keep the home neat. You tell the kid to like pick up things around the house, help put things in order, wash the car, mow the lawn, go on an errand, help buy some things from the store, and you hear all manner of complaints. And when the parent now tries to speak up and let you know that they are well within their rights to instruct that child or give him or her that particular command or chore to do, you hear the reaction. You know what is even more provoking is when you see some kind of arrogant children calling the police, as for those in the US, calling the police on their parents. But we think it doesn't happen in Nigeria for some kind of unnecessary behavior. Can you imagine? You're reprimanded for doing something wrong and you dare to report your parents. Oh, it's like you don't want to come home. In fact, I saw a very funny post a few days ago. He talked about how a particular, I think a young boy had done something wrong and now the parents had corrected him. Now, he did not like what they did. So this child actually went ahead to call these child protective services on his parents. So imagine the parents surprised, they were at home and suddenly child protective services, they show up at home and like, oh, we received a phone call from so and so. Is this what is happening? That we need to take the child into our custody while we conduct our investigations. So they take the child for like 2 days, and after all investigations, it turns out that what the child alleged to have done or to have happened was not true, and that he could be released back into the custody of his parents. But here's the surprising news. The parents actually told the child that said that they didn't want the child anymore. That since he could call them to come and get him, he could stay with them, that he should go into that. They could now register him into the system and find a new foster home for him, because they're like, our home, our rules. And I'm like, that's the way it is. Some children, they have become so used to privilege. There is no longer that sense of gratitude and gratefulness for the things that your parents provide for you. No sense of gratitude. You feel like Okay, it's their right. Yes, we know that they have a right to like feed you, clothe you, shelter you, train you. But it doesn't mean that you have every right to be ungrateful or inconsiderate of their feelings or of the efforts they are putting into raising you to becoming a wholesome human being. When you begin to attack them or go against the grain, you speak out against what you're supposed to do, and you expect them to be happy with you. That's wrong. That's totally wrong. It will not be accepted. It will not be accepted. Now, I want us to look more into the story, like with shorter slides that will be flashing. Let's look at the first slide right now. So, we have our very first slide now. It says, not every painful childhood experience is abuse. And saying that out loud matters. Real abuse exists and distance is necessary in those cases. But lumping imperfect parenting into the same category distorts reality and blocks growth. It blocks growth, and that's the truth. Psychology draws a clear line between abuse and imperfection. Abuse requires protection and distance. Imperfection is part of being raised by humans who were learning in real time. Most parents weren't trained. They were thrown into it. No manuals, no therapy language, no emotional education, just two imperfect humans trying to raise a child while managing their own unresolved wounds. Modern language has changed how we interpret the past. Words like trauma, toxic, and trigger are now used to explain almost everything. But psychological labels without context can turn normal human failures into lifelong indictments. Let's stop here first of all. So, you see, when I made reference to that particular example about that child that called the CPS on his parents and how they took him into custody for 2 days, only to discover that what he had alleged was false. And now wanted to restore him back to his parents. The parents like they're no longer interested. He should go be with the system. He should go find a foster family. And that's the truth. So you could see that that child had categorized what he felt the parents were trying to teach him as abuse, as toxic, as a trigger, as trauma. And by choosing to label what was obviously not abuse to him as abuse, he was stunting his growth. And because that's what happened. By choosing to call what is not abuse, you keep yourself stuck in the past. And you're not able to grow out of it. It's almost like forcing yourself to stay in a cycle without breaking forward to advance forward. You stay there, not growing, not expanding, not realizing that your parents, you say, they were not given any manual. That's why you say you must be grateful for the fact that they have taken the responsibility to raise you, that they did not abandon you. They have not given up. They think about it, that they are considerate enough to want to know where you are at every point in time. I made mention of how some of those friends of yours who make you think that their parents not being around is the best possible life for them, that don't be deceived by those kind of friends, that they cry at night. Many of them long for familial affection, for parental love, are unable to get it, and try to glamorize the fact that they have no parental supervision over their lives. Meanwhile, you who has it and should be grateful for it is now complaining and saying that they're traumatizing you. The chores are too much. Are you aware of the struggle your parents faced and now you have it easy and you're opening up your mouth to complain? Some of you need to be corrected and spanked if possible. Think what the Bible says, the rod of correction. It says, foolishness is in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it out of the child. The rod of correction. See, it's bound. It's bound. It's there. The rod of correction shall drive it far from him. When your parents correct you, it's because they want to loosen that foolishness that is in your heart. That folly that can make you susceptible to danger and prone to making terrible mistakes when you grow up in the future. They are trying to mitigate those disasters now by teaching you how to take care of yourself. They're teaching you how to wash, how to clean, how to cook, how to take care of the environment, and you're not grateful. It's time to wake up. Let's keep reading. So, psychologists call this attitude of always calling things that are not toxic, tragic, and stuff like that over pathologizing. It's when normal stress, psychologists call this over pathologizing. It's when normal stress, conflict, or emotional discomfort is framed as psychological harm. This doesn't heal pain, it freezes it. Blame feels relieving, but it has a cost. When all pain is assigned outward, growth stores inward. You stay focused on what they did wrong instead of what you can do now differently. Research shows that chronic externalization delays emotional maturity. People who remain stuck in blame show lower resilience, poorer relationships, and less psychological flexibility. Healing requires agency and not just validation. Wow, we'll stop here first of all. Now, you saw it for yourself. Normal stress, normal conflict. Maybe you come back from school, it's all right, you're feeling bonded. Maybe the assignments are more than usual. Maybe it's going to be like a long weekend. You had been planning to hang out with friends, and now you're looking at the scope of the assignments that were given to you. And you're not feeling like, oh, the teacher hates me, my parents don't understand, they don't care about me, I'm tired of school. And suddenly, it's not that your teachers are traumatizing you because of homework. So at that point, you are not putting the blame on the teachers or on the parents, not on yourself now, who is supposed to begin to realize that, okay, now it's obvious that a lot of work is assigned to me. I need to learn it now how to channel my time more effectively. Channel my time more effectively to make a difference and use it more effectively. Are you aware? You know, when I made mention of the fact that sometimes when we're dealing with preparing your teenager for life's challenges, I made mention of the fact how parents can actually create simulations where you create challenges that they can deal with. You know, and give them some kind of mock examples and just like maybe put them into that situation and see how they respond to it. Then you know how to like teach them, correct them, help them improve and stuff like that. You know the kind of skills they need to acquire. Like I remember watching a TV show where some parents like they had 3 kids. Now the second kid and the third kid were quite smart academically, but the first one was quite what you call scatterbrained. She wasn't very good academically, so the parents were quite concerned that she was about to graduate high school and go to college, and their concern was she was not very smart. She didn't have what you in Nigeria will call common sense, that's street smart. So they drew up a list. I think there were about like 30 things listed, and they were like 30 things she needs to learn how to do before she goes to college. And I'm like, wow, it was on point. It brought her at first when the list was given to this young lady, and she was like, why does she need to learn all these things? That it's not important. She's not going to college. I know, what have you? And they're like, no, you're going to use this next 3 months to learn all this, and until you know how to do it, you are not going to get some certain privileges. And they enforced it. You know, by the time they started her on the list, she was rebellious and stubborn. By the time she began to achieve each of those goals, she realized that she was acquiring life skills that were necessary to navigate. Those things that it felt like mom and dad were always there to do for her. She had to learn how to do it. How to wash the car, how to change the tires, how to gauge for the oil in the vehicle, you know, some those basic things that a young lady should be able to do. So that if she is stranded, she should be able to take care of herself. She had to learn how to take care of the house, how to babysit, you know, supervise her younger siblings for a certain period of time. And at the end of the day, when she was done with that exercise, she truly matured. I can say it because she truly matured. And that is what Teenagers are supposed to be realized that when your parents are giving you responsibilities and tasks, they're trying to ingrain and prepare you with life skills that you need to navigate and ensure you do not fall prey to scam artists. Imagine not knowing how to manage your money, and your parents are telling you that you need to take a management course, you understand, financial marketing course and stuff like that. And you're saying that you don't need to. You do need it to. You need to learn how to calculate all these things. You need to know how to calculate so that you don't go into debt, thinking that the money is always available. You know, when parents help their children plan, at least you're not going to like get into debt easily or become someone who has to take loans unnecessarily. No. They are preparing you. Are you willing to accept this life skills being taught to you, or are you going to label it as trauma, as a toxic environment that you cannot longer afford to grow up in? Well, I want us to take a quick break now, and when we come back, we will continue. We'll be rounding up shortly. But already I'm just enjoying this topic. It's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. Remember, the number is +234 813 929 for all of your questions, your comments, issues that you're going through, or you send an email to teensreality@lifechangerstorch.org. Do stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Hello, I want to welcome each and every one of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important. Alright, welcome back from that quick break. We'll continue on what we're discussing about the fact that teenagers and kids of this generation tend to over-traumatize what is happening in their life, not appreciating that parents are trying to teach them life skills that are necessary to navigate and ensure a smooth and bright future for them. Let's keep reading what we've been reading, still from the Parents Club. It says, your parents weren't villains. They were humans under pressure. Many were parenting with fewer resources, less awareness, and more stress than you will ever know. So you is complaining about stress. Understand that your parents are also under stress. They were trying, failing, and trying again. That doesn't make them monsters. It makes them human. Healing requires holding two truths at once. Your pain is real, and your parents were flawed humans, not omnipotent architects of your life. Real healing isn't rewriting the past, it's integrating it. It's saying, this hurt me and I'm no longer letting it control me. That shift marks adulthood. Notice the double standard we often hold. We demand perfection from our parents. We give ourselves endless grace for our own flaws. That imbalance keeps resentment alive. Compassion for parents often unlocks compassion for the self. The same grace you demand for your own flaws is what allows psychological closure. Wow. So you've heard that for yourself. Parents are also under a lot of stress. They are not the villains, they're not your enemy. And I've told you, your parents are not your enemies. They love you. They might not always be able to express it in the manner you feel they want. Because remember, I told you, people have different personalities. Some parents might not be expressive all the time with the words, I love you. Or some might not be physically like maybe hugging you all the time. It doesn't mean that they love you any less. They are showing up for you, being there, being committed, willing to listen. Oh, these are things you cannot afford to take for granted. They try. They might fail at some things, but that they keep trying. It lets you know that they are there for the long run. So understand, they don't expect perfect parents. Don't expect them to know every single thing. They are learning as they go along. So work with them. Extend the same grace you want them to extend to you, to them also. Understand that they are also trying to understand this part of parenting as they are raising you up. They hope truly to raise a wonderful person who will not have to suffer what they suffered or go through what they endured. So allow them. And I've told you, if for any reason you feel, that is when now you feel like, yes, it is truly going beyond the line, not when you're attributing something that is simple, a chore, to what you now call an abuse. It's when you know it's truly something that has become really toxic and unbearable. And please call for a time out with your family, sit down and discuss openly. Be free to discuss with them, broach the issue. Don't hold it to your chest or carry it outside the home and discuss with someone who will go and now begin to fill your head with lies or the wrong kind of information. Let your parents be people that you can trust and share the challenges you're going through it. In school, I've told you, let that home be the safe space where you come to unwind and distress from the day. Don't let it be an emotional war zone where you're always accusing your parents of not caring about you, of not loving you enough. Appreciate all that they do. Be willing to follow the chores or the responsibilities they assign to you. If you do not understand anything they tell you to do, ask them. Don't just assume that they just felt you knew it. If you don't know, you ask. So just like that young lady who took out time to go through a list of 30 things she needed to learn how to do before she went off to college, allow your parents to teach you what you need to know. And if perhaps there's some areas you know you feel like you need more help, feel free to talk to them about it. Don't be quiet, don't be silent. Just talk to them. Okay, mom, I'm struggling in this area. You told me to handle this, but I feel like I'm not really getting the hang of it. Can you show me how to do it? The moment you begin to respond that way, there'll be healing for both parties. You know, that time we were talking about in our series, talked about the hurting teenager, the broken parents. Hurting teenager, the broken parents. So you see this particular post still makes mention of the fact that yes, as they are raising, some of them are still dealing with wounds they experienced in their own past. So understand that your parent was once a teenager who perhaps endured some kind of serious issues and trauma and is now trying their best to put it aside to raise you themselves. Allow them. Follow along with them. Get on board. Don't be the enemy. Don't spoil the hard work they are putting in to raise you into a personable, wholesome young man or young woman. Trust the process. Ensure that you both are taking out time to pray and talk to each other. Allow the Holy Spirit influence to whom. Allow him influence to whom. So you begin to see the changes that you want to see on a daily basis. That is certainly what is going to be happening for you. So real healing is not necessarily right in the past. So today I'm going to be giving you a little assignment, all teenagers. I want you to go back and reflect on harsh words you've spoken to your parents. You understand that you've reacted violently to them or rudely, rebelliously, and told them when they were simply trying to teach you something new, give you a new responsibility or assignment, or assign a new chore to you, that you reacted in a very, I think the word to use here is terrible manner. Reflect on those things and go meet them and apologize. Apologize to your parents and let them know that yes, you are sorry. You realize now that you were in error and that they want the best for you. So apologize. And I want to tell you that something definitely is going to be starting out there in that home. You're going to be opening up the doors to peace, love, joy, and the healing of the Lord to come into your home. That's what I want for every one of you teenagers and parents who are watching this show right now. Whether you're watching it live now or you're going to be tuning in at some other time you come across this program, I am hopeful and I pray that it will bless and transform your life. It will indeed bring out the best in you and make you fit to take over your world. All right, thank you for staying tuned today. I am your lovely host, Pastor Odo, urging each and every one of you not to hold back from commenting and sharing with us what's been happening to you. The number to reach out to us on WhatsApp, Telegram, and TikTok is +234 813 929 2708, or you can send an email to teensreality@lifechangerchurch.org. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Hello, I want to welcome each and every of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important